The Code of Federal Regulations. When Congress wants to do something that requires technical expertise or close oversight, it will often enact legislation that delegates authority to an administrative agency. The agency can then create rules that regulate future conduct, and the manner in which these rules are made is set out in the Administrative Procedures Act. Rules and regulations created under this process that do not exceed the authority granted the agency by the delegating legislation have the force and effect of law. They are a type of primary legal authority, and as such need to be included in your search for binding primary legal authority. The Code of Federal Regulations is the topical arrangement of all of the federal rules and regulations currently in effect. It's divided into 50 titles that represent broad subject areas ranging from agriculture to wildlife and fisheries. Some CFR titles have the same numbers as their U.S. Code counterparts. For example, Title 26 of the U.S. Code is the Internal Revenue Code, and Title 26 of the CFR is also Internal Revenue. And some don't match up at all. For example, Title 37 of the CFR concerns patents, trademarks, and copyrights, even though those subjects are covered by Titles 35, 15, and 17 of the U.S. Code. The CFR is revised annually, which is why the official CFR volumes are printed as paperback books in different colors every year. Not all titles are revised at the same time. Titles 1 through 16 are revised as of January 1st each year, for example, and Titles 42 to 50 are revised as of October 1st of every year. CFR citations should have a title number, a section number, and a year. For example, the first section in the first part of the title of the CFR on parks, forests, and public property would be 36 CFR Section 1.1. It is important to include a year in a CFR citation since the same citation may apply to different language in different years. Since the books are published every year, you need to let the reader know which year's text you are relying on. The part of a CFR citation is sort of equivalent to the chapters in the U.S. Code. It's a collection of related regulations that should be looked at to make sure you are reading the regulation in context. For example, a CFR part may start with a purpose statement or a definition section. It may also have something like applicability and scope. It's useful to consult those sections when you're dealing with another section in that part. And the part number appears in the CFR section number to the left of the dot, making it easy to tell when sections are in the same CFR part. Before the first section in a part, there is usually an authority statement. This is the statute that gives the agency power to make these rules. There's also a source statement. This is the equivalent of the statutes at large citations that appear at the bottom of U.S. Code sections. This is the citation to the volume and page in the Federal Register where these regulations were first published. Some individual sections within a part have their own source statements if they were added or amended separately from the part as a whole. A PDF facsimile of the CFR is available on FedSys. The annual edition of the CFR in FedSys goes back to 1996, and it is guaranteed to be exactly as old as the print volumes of the CFR. So the GPO also provides a much more up-to-date CFR called the eCFR. The eCFR is free and usually never more than a couple of days out of date. This screen capture that says the eCFR is current as of September 24th was taken on September 26th, and that's about the longest out of date I remember ever seeing an eCFR. This is great for finding out what the regulations are now, but not very good for historical research. Luckily, historical CFRs back to the original 1938 edition of the CFR are available through Hein Online. Use the quick locator tool to pull up a CFR by year, title, part, and section. There are current and some historical CFRs on all the major legal research systems like Lexis and Westlaw, and topical legal research systems like CCH and Bloomberg BNA will often have the CFR titles that are relevant that are not irrelevant, but relevant to the specific topics in those topical reporters. For example, Bloomberg BNA's Environment and Safety Resource Center contains just those regulations that relate to environment and safety, which is about 30 of the 50 CFR titles. The CFR is available through many interfaces. So how do you find the CFR sections you need? One way is through the authorizing legislation. 18 U.S.C. 711 authorizes the Secretary of Agriculture to promulgate regulations regarding the use of the name Smokey Bear. The context and analysis link on Westlaw brings you to a page that provides links to the regulations under the associated CFR section. And USCS on Lexis has similar links from the authorizing legislation to the regulations that result from that. Another way to find relevant sections is through an index. The CFR itself comes with a single volume paper index. Under the topic wine is a reference to using foreign non-generic place names to designate wines, and that points us to 27 CFR section, part 12, not section, but part. Westlaw has a much more detailed CFR index online. Trying the same lookup, start with wine, which provides us a cross-reference to alcoholic beverages. And the alcoholic beverage topic is so large, there are going to be many references in it, so it's divided alphabetically. The F through M section should contain the subheading beginning with the word foreign. And sure enough, here we see foreign countries' names, and it takes us to 27 CFR section 12.1 at sec, which is another way of saying Title 12. Of course, you can always run a full-text search of regulations on any of the online systems, but even more useful than the superior search engines on Lexis and Westlaw is the fact that there are references to citing cases on these systems. On Westlaw Next, the notes of decision make this an annotated CFR, and KeyCite provides even more citing references as well as context and an analysis section. Shepard's for the CFR has even more citing references, and one of my favorite features in this that's exclusive to Shepard's for codes is the ability to get references to citing authorities that we're citing to a specific subsection of the CFR section you're Shepardizing. This lets you track references to the particular subsection of the CFR that you are interested in. And the next video we're going to see is going to be about the Federal Register.